The officer says he almost hit the professor with his squad car because she was walking in the street back in May. He says he asked her multiple times to get on the sidewalk before the incident escalated, and he ultimately arrested her. That arrest, caught on the squad car's dash camera, has people both applauding and condemning the officer's actions.
I'm not gonna fight you. Put your hand behind your back.
The ASU police officer seen in this video arresting an ASU professor last May is now facing termination.
I'm being labeled by some as a racist. I'm being labeled as a overzealous cop or, power hungry.
Officer Stuart Farron says when the incident started to escalate, he told his partner to activate the squad car camera.
I'm glad the video is there because I truly believe it backs up my actions and it backs up my police report.
Shortly after the incident, ASU released a statement saying the officer did not violate protocol. However, they were enlisting an outside agency to determine if excessive force was used. ASU professor Ursula Orr pleaded guilty to resisting arrest. In November, her attorney filed a claim against ASU seeking $2 million in damages.
It happened in May. I worked for 6 weeks. Normal patrol duties, doing normal stuff, and then this hit the media and they decided to put me on administrative leave.
Then last month, the police chief gave Farron a termination letter with the date of January 21st.
To be completely honest, I think there's politics involved. You have a police officer out there doing his job, and now we've got the race card thrown in there, white officer, black professor. She's a professor, I'm a police officer or a campus cop.
Farron says right now he's more concerned about his family and insurance. His wife is expecting their second child any day, but he says he stands by his actions from that night.
It is difficult to see that as a police officer, I'm charged with doing certain things. It's my duty to enforce the law, to hold people accountable for crimes that they committed. And, here we are, we have a person who did plead guilty in a court of law to crimes that she committed. But I'm the one who's being terminated, and she still works. It's difficult to swallow, I guess.
Yeah, Mark, ASU Assistant Professor Ursula Orr claims she suffered financial, emotional, and psychological damage after that arrest. She now wants the university to pay for what she went through. This is dashcam video of the confrontation between Professor Orr and ASU police officer Stuart Farron. The $2 million claim is a first step to a potential lawsuit.
She was attacked by this police officer, attacked and thrown to the ground and handcuffed and thrown in the car.
The claim accuses Officer Farron of using excessive force, making a false arrest, and violating Orr's federal rights to due process.
To have to face felony charges was not only embarrassing, demeaning, dehumanizing, but also an attack on her profession and her professional status.
Last week, the university notified Officer Farron of its intent to fire him. Farron's attorney, Mel McDonald, called the decision shocking and unjust.
What they've done is they've picked out complaints that were long before wiped off, and they decided that they would try to pile complaints up on him. And I think it's a bunch of garbage myself.
As for Orr, she called the entire ordeal degrading and humiliating, saying she continues to suffer from confusion and anxiety. Orr would eventually plead guilty to one count of resisting arrest.
This professor, by coincidence, is one of the experts at Arizona State University on critical race theory, which says black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything. Especially why cops are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. So let's just put this case of Arizona State University professor in the file of how true that critical race theory is. So if you're ever out in Arizona, maybe you want to take in a football game, or maybe grab a taco at one of the fantastic restaurants, Mexican restaurants on or off the campus, hey, go ahead. I hear it's a pretty nice place. But you do have to remember one thing. Don't make the black kids angry.